Okay, back again. So, let's take a look at this find the product indicated. What I want to do here is I want to multiply this. If I'm doing it by hand, I need to take the first two and do them together. -2 times -2 is going to give me a +4, and then I just bring down the times 3. 4 times 3 is going to give me 12, and I'm done. The next one says, at noon, the temperature was 80 degrees. By midnight, temperature had fallen to 40 degrees. What was the change in temperature over the 12-hour period? So the only thing they're asking here is basically, it went from 80 to 40. What happened? Was it plus? Was it minus? Right? So in this case, well, so you might want to say like plus x or minus, something like that. What happened was minus 80, x is equal to -40, so what was the change in temperature? Minus 40 degrees. Went down 40 degrees. You could say it was a decrease as well. All those are good. Now, let's go ahead and look at the next question. Simplify this algebraic expression by combining like terms. So, like terms are going to be things that have the same variable, same exponent. When you look here, 5 and 2, both are just numbers, no exponents, no variables, so they go together. X and 5x go together because they're both just x's. These x squared terms go together. Now, x's and x squared terms do not go together. They're not the same. That's why everything that goes together has the same color. If it doesn't have the same color, then it doesn't go together. So I go ahead and I just do them. So I have -5 plus 2, that's going to give me a -3. You could also rewrite these and regroup them to be together so that this might make the step easier. What do I mean? Do -5 plus 2 minus x plus 5x minus 3x squared minus 2x squared, and then you see that none of the signs change, but they're all next to each other, which makes this step easier. Then I have these two, minus x and a plus 5x. So this is like -1 plus 5, that's going to give me a +4x. Then I have -3x squared and minus 2x squared, which is going to give me a -5x squared, okay? This is my final answer. I cannot combine any more of these terms together. Number 6 says use long division to change the fraction into a decimal. So we already used a little long division earlier, but this is going to make this a decimal. So I need to do that. You're putting the bigger number into the smaller number. So 40 goes into 17. Well, because that can't happen, I need to make this a decimal, okay? Making that a decimal allows for me to drop a 0 in here, and now I can try to put that in, okay? So I made it a decimal, I dropped down a 0. 40 goes into 170. 4 times 40 is 160. Now I subtract, I get 10. Well, 40 still can't go into 10, so I need to drop down another 0. That's a 0. 40 goes into 100 twice. 4 times 2 is 80, minus, I get 20. Okay, 40 can't go into 20, so I need to drop down another 0, make that 200. 40 goes into 200 5 times, alright? 40 times 5 is an even 200, and I have a remainder of 0. So my answer is 0.425. Now, you use long division whenever you can't use a calculator. Otherwise, you would just take 17 divided by 40 in the calculator, and it'll give you this exact same answer. Okay? Alright, let's see what's next. Okay, it says, evaluate this expression and simplify your answers. So, I have here, x equals 0, y equals -4, so 6 times 0, I'm just plugging them in for the variables, plus -4, oops, I wrote an equal sign, I meant a minus, -9. Okay, 6 times 0 is 0, and then plus and the minus, this makes this -4. -9. So really, I'm just doing -4 minus 9. With two negatives, you are going to add them. So this is going to give me 13 for my final answer here. Okay. So for the next problem. Okay, it says Mary's income is $4,200 a month. She plans to budget half her income for rent and 1/4 of her income for savings. The question says, what fraction of her income does she plan to spend each month on these two items together? In order to do that, they want us to add the two fractions together. So I need to take 1/2 plus 1/4, which I can't do because they don't have the same denominator. So if you can't use a calculator, you need to know how to make these have the same denominator. Well, 2 goes into 4, which means my denominator is going to be 4. So this one is the only one I need to change. So this is going to stay the same. But if I want to make 1/2 something over 4, I need to multiply the top and bottom by 2, and I make that 2 over 4. So 2 over 4 plus 1 over 4 gives me 3 over 4. So Mary is using 3/4 of her income on rent and savings. Because what amount of money does she intend to spend on these two items together? Well, now that I've already got the fraction, I can just do 3/4 times 4,200 and figure out what that is. Using the calculator here, I end up with 3,150. So that's quite a bit of money that she's spending on this stuff. Okay. The next one says, identify the first term of the algebraic expression. Indicate whether or not it is a variable term or a constant term. So to be a variable term, it has to have a variable with it, which we see here, the first term of the expression does. So it is a variable, and term is negative 5b. That's what it is. You want to put everything together, including the sum. The next one says compute the difference and simplify your answer. Well, all these have the same denominator, so I'm just going to group them 2 at a time, left to right. Do not try to mix them up. 2 at a time, so I'm going to do 2 over 9 minus 1 over 9, which is going to give me 1 over 9. Now I'm going to take this answer and this one and do 1 over 9 minus 5 over 9, because I'm keeping the same order. 1 minus 5 is going to give me negative 4 over 9. Cannot reduce my fraction. I am finished. Next one says compute the difference to simplify your answer, but not the same denominator. So let's get one. Let's get a common denominator here, okay? So common denominator, 3, 8, 20, and 4 is going to be 24. I rewrite them all with the 24 denominator. So what do I need to multiply the first one by to get 24? Well, I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by 8. The second one I'm going to multiply by 3. The last one I'm going to multiply by 6. 8 times 1 is going to give me 8. 3 times 3 is going to give me 9. 6 times 1 is going to give me 6. So again, from left to right, 8 minus 9 is going to give me negative 1 over 24. Bring down my minus 6 over 24. Put those together and get minus 7 over 24 for my final answer for this one. Cannot reduce that at all. Alright, let's take a look at this. It says translate the phrase into an algebraic expression. Use variable names x or y to describe the unknown. They don't want us to actually solve it, if you notice, because they don't give us anything to help us here. It says 6 divided by the sum of 2 and a number. Whenever it says something by the sum of, that means parentheses, okay? So 6 divided by the sum of 2 and a number. Well, a number is going to be x. So sum is plus 2 plus x. That's exactly how they want me to write it. That's all I got to do. Last but certainly not least, number 19, it says change the decimal to a fraction. Well, this is in the hundred spot. Oops. If you notice here, if I move this over twice, that's in the hundreds, okay? So I do this as 76 over 100. That's how I'm going to make this a fraction. Now, I got to figure out what goes into both of these. So what I can do is I can start dividing by stuff I know. They're both even, so I can try 2. Really, it's 4. Okay, 4 goes into both of them. So I'm going to divide them both by 4. And 76 divided by 4 ends up giving me 19. 100 divided by 4 ends up giving me 25. Can't reduce it any further than that. Now this is the Math 111 Test 1 review for intermediate algebra. Your best bet is to try to do these problems again. Use my video as a resource for you to check your work, get some clarification on what you might have done wrong, or if you're a little lost on a certain part of a problem. You definitely want to try to do as many reviews as possible, as many problems as possible. Number one thing with math is practice, practice, practice. Thanks. Good luck.